After every season, NFL teams are guaranteed a selection in every single round of the NFL Draft, the order of which is determined by where they finished in the standings. Good NFL teams use these draft picks to build the kind of rosters that can one day lead to winning the Super Bowl. But clearly not all teams are quite this capable. Moreover, some of these teams trade these picks away with the thought of something even greater in mind. With the 2025 NFL Draft just around the corner, today we're going to be counting down the 10 worst teams since the 1970 merger who did not exercise a first-round pick in the following season's draft. And we will be doing that by using C-Score, a metric created by this channel to objectively evaluate every single team during the Super Bowl era beyond just looking at its record. For a deeper explanation of C-Score, be sure to check out the description of this video. While it is possible that a team can have its first round pick, or any draft pick, taken away by the NFL, no such instances appear in this video. And since we are leaving out the pre-merger portion of the Super Bowl era, here are the teams that would have made the top 10. With all that in mind, I wish to thank you for joining us today, and away we go. Coming in at number 10 are the 1998 San Diego Chargers. This was the infamous rookie season for quarterback Ryan Leaf, and needless to say, it didn't go well. The Chargers went 5-11, but did so against the bottom 5 schedule while still being outscored by over 100 points. Offense was the main problem, with only the putrid Philadelphia Eagles scoring fewer points. San Diego's C-score this season was negative 20.85. And Ryan Leaf is the reason they didn't have a first-round pick in 1999. Holding the third pick in 98, and afraid that someone would leapfrog them into the second pick, they swapped spots with the Arizona Cardinals while also sending their second-round pick that season, Eric Metcalf, linebacker Patrick Sapp, and that 1999 first-rounder. That turned into the 8th overall pick, used by the Cardinals to draft wide receiver David Boston, who incidentally joined the Chargers later on a 7-year contract, only to play 1 season with the team. And of course, Ryan Leaf didn't work out. The 2013 Washington Redskins enter the countdown in 9th place. After a promising 2012 season, things fell apart in the capital, culminating in a 3-13 record, a negative 144 point differential, and wretched numbers across the board. Yes, quarterback Robert Griffin III was injured the season before and was never quite the same, but this was not the sole reason for the Redskins' collapse, checking in with a C-score of negative 23.079. Injuries are impossible to predict, of course, but putting all your eggs in one basket has been known to backfire. In the 2012 draft, the Redskins held the 6th overall pick, but moved up to number 2 with the St. Louis Rams. In doing so, they tacked on 3 more premium picks, their second rounder that season, and a first in 2013 and 2014. The Rams made some moves to garner more capital, but kept that 2014 first, which was 2nd overall. They thought they were getting a franchise left tackle in Greg Robinson. They thought wrong. In the end, nobody really won. Time to backtrack for our number 8 entry. Here we find the 1976 Philadelphia Eagles. The American Bicentennial was a happy occasion in Philadelphia, but not so much for the local football club. They went 4-10 while being outscored by 121 points, primarily due to their offense, which ranked 2nd from the bottom in points scored. Without much else on offer, they only managed a C-score of negative 23.312. Bill Bergey was a linebacker teetering on the edge of superstardom for the Cincinnati Bengals when a contract situation that required use of the judiciary led to his trade to the Eagles in 1974. Philly traded some serious future compensation, a first and second rounder in 1978, and this first rounder in 1977. Bergey was excellent for the Eagles and now resides in their Ring of Honor. The Bengals selected defensive tackle Wilson Whitley, a serviceable starter, but did much better with Philly's pick the next season, taking defensive end Ross Browner. Not known for their sage draft maneuvering, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were bound to make this list, and they have at number 7 with their 1983 team. It was a sad decade altogether for Tampa, and this season did not help, going 2-14 with a minus 139 point differential. The defense was a bit better than the offense, but not by a whole lot. Add all that with a below average schedule, and their C-score is negative 24.151. The Cincinnati Bengals are back. They drafted quarterback Jack Thompson 3rd overall in 1979. But after 4 seasons, he started only 5 games and completed only 47% of his passes, with more interceptions than touchdowns. But the Bucs saw him as the answer to their many, many woes, trading their 1984 first-round pick that turned out to be number 1 overall. Cincy traded that pick for 4 more to the Patriots, who took wide receiver Irving Fryer, owner of nearly 13,000 career receiving yards. Think Tampa could have used him or the extra picks? We've got another unnecessary self-inflicted wound here at number 6 with the 1978 San Francisco 49ers. This season eventually brought Bill Walsh in, which was the best thing ever, but the season itself saw San Fran go 2-14 with a negative 131 point differential. They played an easy schedule and still ranked last in the league in scoring and were 6th worst in points allowed. C-Score didn't like any of that, giving the Niners a negative 25.878. The Buffalo Bills had a certain, fairly well-known running back who took a big step backward in his age 30 season. That would be O.J. Simpson, who happened to be born in San Francisco. Despite entering the 1978 season at 31 and with lots of wear on his tires, the 49ers decided they desperately needed the juice, sending Buffalo 5 picks over 3 seasons, all in the first 4 rounds, including their first in 1979. Hey, guess what? That became the number 1 overall pick. Buffalo officially whiffed the pick by selecting Tom Cousineau, who never played for them, but they then parlayed him into Jim Kelly. So all's well that ends well. And the Niners turned out pretty okay during the 80s as well. It took the New Orleans Saints 2 decades to find their footing as a franchise, so it's no surprise they were still really bad in 1972, taking our 5th spot on this list. They managed to tie this season, but otherwise lost 11 times against 2 wins. They took a beating on the scoreboard to the tune of a negative 146 point differential. Their above average schedule helps out some, but that C-score is still in the toilet at negative 26.886. Unlike some other teams that we've seen already and will see, the Saints didn't trade a future pick that wound up higher than they would have hoped. It was in the 1973 offseason, when the Saints knew they held a 2nd overall pick, that the Baltimore Colts came calling. The Saints acquired Billy Newsome, a solid defensive lineman, and a 4th round pick. And that's it. A pretty small haul for the number 2 overall selection. The Colts drafted quarterback Burt Jones with that pick, the 1976 NFL MVP, who could have legitimately been an all-time great if not for an unfortunate series of injuries. After a 21-season sojourn in St. Louis, the Rams returned to Los Angeles in 2016, but they didn't bring a good team with them, taking the 4th spot. They managed a 4-12 record, but were outscored on the year by 170 points. That was due in large part to their standing as the league's lowest scoring team. Alongside bottom 10 finishes in points allowed and strength of schedule, they landed a C-score of negative 27.021. The Rams didn't exercise a single first-round pick for 7 consecutive years starting this season, so you figured one of these would be showing up. Sitting in the 15th slot of round 1 in the 2016 draft, the Rams made a big move up the board to number 1. they gave up 6 picks in the top 3 rounds over the next 2 seasons for the pleasure of drafting quarterback Jared Goff. Their 2017 first was part of the deal, which was 5th overall. Tennessee drafted wide receiver Corey Davis, but their best pick from this group was in the 2nd round of 2016 when they took the king, Derrick Henry. The Rams may not have exercised any first-round picks, but they did bring in Sean McVay as head coach. We welcome back the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, taking the 3rd spot with their team from 1991. Firmly in the Yuccaneers portion of their franchise, Tampa took it on the chin a lot this season, going 3-13. Bottom 4 finishes in both points scored and points allowed gave them a point differential of more than 10 points per game at -166. Without a tough schedule to lean on, they end with a C-score of -29.728. He made the Pro Bowl twice in 1997 and 1998, but 7 years earlier, quarterback Chris Chandler was considered expendable by the Indianapolis Colts. So naturally, the Bucs didn't bother buying low on him and traded their 1992 first-round pick for him. Chandler was gone from the team before that draft took place, and it turned out to be the 2nd overall pick, only because the Colts themselves had the first pick, giving Indy the rare opportunity to own the first 2 picks in the draft. Sadly though, it wasn't much of a draft class. They took linebacker Quentin Coriat with Tampa's pick, and he was fine, but fell well short of that draft stature. We now welcome back the New Orleans Saints, taking the 2nd spot with their team from 1999. Seemingly keen on rediscovering their Aints era, the Saints appeared at times to field an actual NFL team this season, going 3-13 while sitting on the wrong end of the season-long scoreboard to the tune of -174 points. They struggled across the board, even against the below-average strength of schedule, taking in a C-score of -30.394. Probably don't have to spend too much time on this one as we covered this team in a recent video, but needless to say, head coach Mike Ditka had visions of Walter Payton dancing in his head during the 1999 draft, and came just short of moving heaven and earth to acquire Ricky Williams. Instead of all that though, the Saints shipped approximately 245 picks to the Redskins to move up 7 spots, and Mike had his man. One of those was a 2000 first rounder, which turned into the 2nd overall pick, where Washington selected star linebacker LeVar Arrington. Taking the top spot is a truly terrible team during a truly terrible era for them, the 1973 Houston Oilers. Woe be unto the Baltimore Colts, who gave Houston their only win that season, in Baltimore no less. The Oilers lost their other 13 games, getting pasted to the tune of a -248 point differential. Their average loss was by nearly 20 points per game, earning their status as an all-time terrible team with a C-score of -42.821. During the 1973 offseason, coming off an identical 1-13 record incidentally, the Oilers traded their 1974 first and 3rd round picks to the Dallas Cowboys. In return, they got a young defensive end with some potential in Tody Smith, and a young wide receiver who flashed as a rookie, but hadn't done much since in Billy Parks. Ouch. The Cowboys turned a 3rd rounder into quarterback Danny White, a 13-year lifelong Cowboy, and Ed Too Tall Jones with the 1st rounder, naturally at 1st overall, a lifelong 15-year Cowboy. The Oilers actually improved after this season, but how much better could they have been had they kept those picks? Looking at the top 10 as a whole, we can see that the 2nd place 1999 Saints are closer to 10th place than they are to 1st, with that particular gap sitting at nearly 12.5 points. Only 2 of these entries come from the 21st century, as NFL teams have taken much more care with their draft picks, at least for the most part. There are some teams that appear missing from this top 10, and one that I am sure will come to mind is the 2023 Carolina Panthers. While it's true that they traded their 2024 first round pick, they did trade back into the first round, so they did make a first round pick even if it wasn't their original. None of these trades were made on draft day, which isn't all that surprising, since teams trading out of the first round tend to hold picks in the latter half, precluding them from having the kind of C-score necessary to make it on here. Thank you so much for making it this far into the video. I love the NFL draft, and I've been known to watch the whole thing right down to the final pick. If you also like the draft, or if you like this video, please show the love by hitting that thumbs up button. Don't be shy about sharing it around either. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and ding that bell to be notified about all our future videos. Let me know what you think about all of this. Is there another team you thought would make the list? Were you surprised to see any of the teams that did make it? What do you think about trading up or trading down in the draft, or trading picks for players? Sound off on these topics or anything else you may have on your mind down in the comments section below. Thank you so much once again for joining us today, and until next time, I hope you have an awesome day.